Good morning, everyone, once again. And as I have been told that our guest of honor has arrived and he'll be here with us shortly. And once again, I extend a very warm welcome to everybody present here on behalf of PhD Chamber at the PhD International Tax Conference on Global Tax Issues and Recent Developments. As we all know that we start the auspicious things and something to begin with the lamp lighting ceremony, and we will be doing the same. And for the same, I would like to invite all our guests present over here who have specially taken out time to grace the occasion and the event today. Mr. Chandra will be joining us shortly. I would request Mr. Akhilesh Ranjan, Principal CCIT International Tax and Transfer Pricing, to kindly come forward and join us near the lamp. I see Mr. Sushil Chandra joining us. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Chairman CBDT. I request you to join us for the lamp lighting ceremony at the same time. Mr. Gopal S. Jivrajka, Senior Vice President, PhD Chamber. Mr. Anil K. Chopra, Chairman, Direct Taxes Committee, PhD Chamber. Mr. Saurabh Sayal, Secretary General, PhD Chamber. Mr. Mukul Bagla, Co-founder of Direct Tax Committee. Mr. Vijay Chaudhary, Director, PhD Chamber. Mr. Dinesh Agarwal, Co-Chairman of Direct Tax Committee. I request all the gentlemen to kindly join us for the lamp lighting ceremony. This is the auspicious lamp to mark the beginning of the day. I request all of you to kindly join us on the dais. Thank you, gentlemen. Kindly be seated. Now I request Mr. Gopal Jivrajka to kindly present a beautiful token that is a green plant, a welcome token to Mr. Sushil Chandra. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. I request Mr. Anil K. Chopra to present the plant to Mr. Akhilesh Ranjan. Thank you for joining us, sir. Thank you, gentlemen. Now I request Mr. Gopal S. Jivrajka, our Senior Vice President from PhD Chamber, to give the welcome address. Sir, please.
Mr. Sushil Chandra, Chairman CBDT. Mr. Akhilesh Ranjan, Principal CCIT, International Tax and Transfer Pricing. Fellow colleagues on the dais, managing committee members, colleagues from the industry, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you all this morning to the International Tax Conference on Global Tax Issues and Recent Developments organized by our chamber, the PhD Chamber of Commerce. Well, I don't know how is the mind occupied at the moment? Is it really on the international tax issues or the second 9/11 that has happened yesterday? I don't know. People are still reeling under the magnitude of the decision that has been taken, and absolutely a very, very bold step. And anyway, we have to see how it moves. Seems to be a decision that was necessary for this country to move away from the parallel economy. Our special thanks to Mr. Sushil Chandra, Chairman CBDT, who could make it here today in spite of what has been done last evening, and Mr. Akhilesh Ranjan, Principal CCIT, who very kindly accepted our invitation and made sure that they are here to grace this conference. PhD Chamber has been annually organizing this conference with the objective of an informed dialogue on significant issues in international taxation and analyzing the Indian tax laws for a more effective and efficient tax regime that would facilitate and promote foreign direct investment and cross-border trade, thereby facilitating Make in India. Friends, India is one of the largest and fastest growing economies in the world. Taxation policy plays an integral role in the overall economic development of a country. An effective tax system plays an important role to promote investments into the country, as well as outbound investments by helping the companies to be more competitive in the global arena. A simple, transparent, and non-adversarial tax regime, bereft of complexities and ambiguities, would go a long way to strengthen business sentiment and restore faith of foreign investors in the India growth story. There is a need to reduce litigation to promote the investor sentiment and at the same time promote the ease of doing business within India. India stands out as a country with immense potential and opportunity. It is once again creating an interest and excitement in the global arena as hopes build for its reform agenda to be carried forward. Industry expects tax reforms to be at a priority position in this agenda. Since the last few years, the emphasis laid down by the Indian revenue authorities is towards the expansion of the tax base through digitization and e-governance. Further, there could be situations of tax uncertainty and litigation which might result in tax demands. Accordingly, it has become crucial to understand the potential impact of new developments in the tax and regulatory spheres and consequently prepare for the challenges. Recently, it has been seen that the investors have become optimistic about India and want to invest in India, thanks to the FDI policy reforms, ease of doing business, and other structural reforms undertaken by the government, such as bankruptcy code and the move towards GST, which hopefully will be implemented from April 1st. The reasons why investors are positive about India is because India has also established its robustness as a market. Besides, the country's regulatory framework is very robust and trustworthy for foreign portfolio and FDI investors. There is recognition that India is a good place to do business. Investment decisions are normally driven by economic reasons, but also by the business and regulatory environment in a particular jurisdiction. Creating a business-friendly environment with an element of certainty, transparency with an eye on growth should always be on the top of government's priority list. A favorable investment regime coupled with tax certainty will definitely go a long way to boost the economy of the country. I'm sure the delegates will find today's conference fruitful and informative. And I think I will end here and would like to listen to the galaxy of speakers that we have on the dais. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I now request Mr. Anil Chopra to kindly come forward and give the theme address. Sir, please.
Mr. Sushil Chandra, Chairman CBDT, Mr. Akhilesh Ranjan, Principal CCIT, dignitaries on the dais, distinguished guests, fellow delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Knowledge sharing and thought sharing are central to promoting the conference theme of making India a preferred destination. The conference endeavor is to focus on learnings which are of practical use. Speakers have been requested to focus on aspects and issues, controversies, difficulties, and suggestions for improvement. Among the various international tax topics being deliberated at the conference are cross-border investments, transfer pricing, equalization levy, anti-avoidance provisions, interpretation of treaties, recent developments in international tax, and the valedictory session is on vision from tax perspective to make India a preferred destination. There are rapid and significant changes in international tax over the last few years. There is much of interest to study, learn, and comply. Increasingly, the world moves towards global tax policies and involvement such as BEPS and exchange of information. However, each nation would continue to promote and protect its own turf. National interest, inward-looking, Brexit, what we are seeing in the US elections, these are examples. BEPS is there. How will this instrument finally be executed? I am very interested to hear from Mr. Akhilesh Ranjan, who's a global expert in this. Nations cannot easily agree today. Joint venture partners cannot easily agree today. How is such a mammoth exercise going to be agreed to and given effect? However, there is a clear need, and we look forward to the same. We will try to demystify complexities. It is not our intent to make it complex for you. Steadily over the last 2 years, on the government side, we have watched important announcements, one after another. And these have led to ease of business. They have led to aspects which make India a preferred destination. Not only does the government speak about being a non-adversarial tax administration, but we also hear the government talk about tax administration being facilitators and not only tax collectors. Various committees have been formed. Suggestions are being asked for, openly heard. Difficulties are being removed, and in a steady, ongoing way, improvements are being brought in. I do believe we will see many more din which are achhe din. Some positive measures taken by the government over the last year include, this is in context of international tax and non-residents, paperless PAN and TAN application process, relaxation from higher withholding tax rule in absence of PAN for non-resident deductees, subject to compliance with certain conditions, relief from MAT on foreign companies where there was no PE or place of business in India, deferment of POEM, concessional tax rates on long-term capital gains on unlisted securities, foreign tax credit rules, GAR postponed. Cabinet has decided to resign the decision on Cyprus being a notified jurisdiction, and a fresh treaty has been negotiated. These are all changes which augur well and have been received well. Changes are also rightly taking place to protect the interest of revenue. Changes in Mauritius Treaty, Cyprus changes, Undisclosed Foreign Income and Assets Black Money Act, and there is more to follow. On the other side, there continue to be aspects that need attention to reduce litigation, to promote fair play, and to make India competitive. The Mauritius DTA has been amended. Transactions will be taxed as per the DTA, as per the timeline set or cut-off date set. GAR is not in play, but I am given to understand that in some cases, The commercial substance of Mauritius entities has started to be questioned. This is despite all the case law, board circulars, and other aspects which are there in the past. We do believe that corresponding adjustment should be permitted under transfer pricing, even if there is no specific provision in Article 9. And what if the prejudice is to the foreign company in the foreign territory? Why should we object and say we will not give you corresponding adjustment only because it is not there in Article 9, and thus there are issues relating to MAP and APAs. Reduction in TP litigation, this is a well-known topic, needs not be stressed. India must not be one of the most litigated TP jurisdictions in the world. There is a need to avoid overpitched assessments, which would lead to the need for accountability and transparency of officers. And just as the same as there has to be transparency and accountability and compliance in fair play by officers, first and foremost, that must be done by assessees. There is also a request that there must not be prosecution at early stages of the issue and dispute without full due process. There are many topics which continue to be interesting, and these relate to modern business and its aspects, flow of financial securities and capital, trade of intangibles, cyberspace, intellectual property values, stateless income of global entities, aspects of low or no tax jurisdictions, e-commerce, and stopping harmful practices, not just reducing, but there has to be an intent to stop. Our government can do what it decides to do. We saw that last night. Early morning today, the first message I got was from my vice president, senior vice president, that did you have to fix your conference on 9/11? I believe we would have had a lot more attendance today, or some more at least, if it was not for the attention being taken away by 9/11. The fundamental principles of international tax would keep in view, and India is doing so, expansion of India's economy, reduction in double tax, but also reduction in double non-tax, source-based taxation, fair sharing of international tax base among states. Profit should be taxed where economic activities are performed and where value is created. If the activity and profit is in India, the value creation is in India, then the tax must be in India. Clearly, a better understanding and dissemination of information relating to tax policies and thought sharing amongst all stakeholders will lead to better compliance, will lead to reduction of litigation, and that is our objective. There are interesting sessions to follow, eminent speakers from within Delhi, outside Delhi, from abroad, and I'm grateful to each one of them for their contribution. I'm also most grateful to the support we have received from the tax department, from the chairman, from the principal chief commissioner, from all the senior officers who have taken time from their heavy schedule to be presenting papers in the course of the day and to be sharing thoughts with us. The conference is also knowledge gaining for Indian MNCs, and I quote from our Prime Minister, "This nation is yours. We want our companies to shine as multinational companies." Certainly tax, international tax, is an understanding that Indian MNCs must enhance. We also have participation from embassies. It is truly an international tax conference. I would like to point out that we have in the course of the day Guru from Singapore, Gary from Mauritius. We have Mayur and Sudhir Nayak and Ketan Dalal from Bombay, each one of them eminent speakers in their own right. I thank you sincerely for being here with me and all of us. I wish you an interesting, rewarding, and satisfying conference. Floor participation is certainly welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Sushil Chandra. He is the chairman of Central Board of Direct Tax. He was the Director of Revenue, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. He also joined Indian Revenue Service in 1980 and was posted at various places in UP, Rajasthan, Delhi, Gujarat and Mumbai. He worked in areas of international taxation and investigation at various places. He was the Commissioner of Income Tax Appeal, International Taxation at Delhi. He also handled issues of international taxation at Dehradun and Delhi. He has been the Director of Investigation, Mumbai, and Director General Investigation in Gujarat. He is the convener of multi-agency group on Panama Papers. Earlier, he was the member investigation of CBDT. Sir, I request you to come forward and address the August gathering present here. Sir, please.
Dear Mr. Chopra, Mr. Jeev Rajka, all the members of the chambers present on the dais, Mr. Akhilesh Ranjan, all the officers of the department and all members of the chairman and all distinguished guests here. I would congratulate PhD chambers for organizing such a meet where the ideas of different persons and from the department can be shared on a dais on issues like global tax issues and international taxation. My relationship with the PhD chamber when they came and I told them goes long back, and my first address to PhD chamber was 1999 or 2000 when I was additional CIT TDS in Delhi. And there were a lot of questions and ambiguities on TDS. So in 2000, I suppose, I had addressed this chamber. So when they came to me, and I felt very good that my old memories of a 195 sections, lot of questions at that time, and international taxation issues at that time that I had discussed with a member of PhD chambers. And after coming here, I'm finding a lot of my old friends who have argued many cases of the international taxation before me. And some are very old departmental heads here who are present. And I feel very good that these all persons who are very knowledgeable in international taxation are guiding the persons who are here, and they are sharing their knowledge with them. When I started the day, it was not the day to be here. I should have been in the CBDT, and I thought that I should cancel my appointment today and to be here, because some more pressing needs are there because of the announcement which was made last night. But as I was having a relationship with this chamber, and especially I thought that let me go for a few minutes at least, so that I'll be acquainted with all the persons who are here, and let me have some concerns which the international persons and the community who is dealing with this, they are feeling about it. As you are all aware that international business model are changing every day. International business scenario is changing every day. Therefore, the tax issues, the taxation of international business models will have to also go under a change, and it has to be dynamic. It cannot be static and same as it was in 2000. It has to change every year. But when a multinational company wants to enter in India, or an Indian company wants to enter into another arena or another cross-border area, they want certainty in their tax liabilities, the clarity on the tax laws. the outgo which they are required to do in a particular country, and how the atmosphere will be there will have to be ascertained. CBDT is continuously working in this direction for last many years, and we want to be absolutely up to date, in time, and best with the global practices followed in any other country. And the best way is to develop a capacity building in our officers to deal with that. And we are putting full training to our officers as to how to deal with these complicated issues which have arisen. As you all know, that we want, for any good tax system, we want 3 and 4 things which are very important. That is simplicity. How a law on a complex issue can be simple. That is the foremost question. And therefore, we always ask the suggestions as to how a particular issue has to be dealt with before taking up the budget exercise. And I'm happy that this is a good time when this conference is being organized. The CBDT is already in the process of budget finalization, and whatever measures will be taken will be discussed. We want full suggestions from various chambers, and every day we are having meetings from various stakeholders. So we want good suggestions, and I hope this conference will deliberate upon that as to what better suggestions can come, which while implementing in the legislation, the life of a person who is entering into India for doing business can be easier. The complexities which we find in international taxation, in transfer pricing, as Mr. Jeevaraj ji has said, that the overpay assessment should not be done, the accountability of the officer should be fixed. I think there was more litigation on the transfer pricing in earlier years. Now we have developed the advance price agreements, and you will be happy to note that around 110 persons have already come into this net. So it has to be from both ways. It is not only the department which can provide full transparency, it is from the other side also. They will have to come and be very transparent in their tax obligations. And here is the role of tax practitioners and the department comes. Because litigation has also got a very huge cost. Our system wants less litigation. And therefore, the department has also issued a lot of clarifications in last 2.5 years, you might have noticed. And we always want that whenever there is a contentious issue, it should be brought to our notice. And the department is absolutely clear that we want to reduce litigation at all cost, and we want to give a certainty to the taxpayers, and we are ready to issue tax clarifications on various issues which has been adopted by various different countries also. When I was in Singapore, I found that they were almost every half-yearly issuing clarifications from the department on all the issues. So at least that should be brought to our notice that what are the contentious issues, we would like to clarify that. Our team of officers is very good as far as the international tax pricing is concerned, international taxation tax pricing. And they have been trained at all levels, and they are ready to listen all the grievances of the taxpayers. Akhilesh Ranjan is a very good face and a very courteous man, so nobody can have any grievance as far as this arena is concerned. With the legislation improvement, implementation of the tax laws, I would also like to share that information exchange is a very good area now which we have developed. And this is the area and the arena in which we are getting all information about the taxpayers, whether it is a resident or otherwise. As a head of a Panama Group leaks also, I found a lot of things. I have been in investigation all through, and partly in this international taxation. I find that lot of avoidance is also taking place. So the tax treaty should not be used as an avoidance. It has to be to facilitate the business. If there is anywhere there is an avoidance, the department will have to come for enforcement, and which is not good, which is not taken in a light manner. As Mr. Jeevaraj has said, that the prosecutions are launched without giving any opportunity. I think we are not doing at an early stage the prosecutions.